Hello and welcome to Focus on Israel, which looks at the Holy Land. I'm Paul Calvert.
Psalm 17 verse 15 from the New King James Bible says this, "As for me, I will see your face in righteousness. I shall be satisfied when I awake in your likeness." I'm with Eilat Leiber, the Director and Chief Curator of the Tower of David Museum in Jerusalem. Now, you have a new exhibition coming up soon about the Western Wall, and you're looking for photographs. Tell us a bit more about this exhibition that you're going to be putting on in the future.
Yes, so the Tower of David Jerusalem Museum is showing a permanent exhibition, but with that, we are doing every year a special changing exhibition, searching for the story of Jerusalem. So as part of this mission, we wanted to highlight sites in the city that people may know, but they really don't know the whole big picture or the story and history of the site. So one of them is the Western Wall, and thanks to photography, we can actually add more light and more knowledge about this historic, unique, holy site. Now, as you know, for many Christians all over the world, the Holy Land the Orient was a very exciting place to come visit and take photographs. So thanks to the 19th century, we have a beautiful collection of photographs that we want to show the public about the history of the site, and that's why we decided to collect more from private collection, from families' albums, because this is our great goal, is to show more about actually well-known sites, but really to discover the deep layers of the story, and we can learn a lot from photography.
What inspired you to want to actually do the Western Wall?
It's a part of a series, actually. We started in 2019 with Dome of the Rock. We decided to show the story of this site by using modern research and photography. Especially, we decided to take three main sites in Jerusalem representing the three big religions. So we started with Dome of the Rock, now we are doing the Western Wall, and the next site will be the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. And here we coming to the next year, 2027, where we are going to talk about 1967, the 60 years for the unification of Jerusalem, and go back in time and learn what happened in this special site during those 60 years, but even much, much earlier, because most of the Israelis really don't know when this site began to be such a central point in Jewish culture. What are the first, actually, pilgrims' descriptions of the site, and what can we learn about the modern, ancient history of this site?
How many photographs have you got today of the Western Wall, and how far back do you go in age?
First of all, we have thousands of photographs, but we're searching for the unique, details. We want to know about men and women in the site. We would like to see the space during the ages, because it changed from time to time. Sometimes it was very close to the neighborhood, the Mugobim neighborhood, and then the Israeli government removed this neighborhood to create the big square. And we wanted to see how the Ottomans and during British mandate was the relationship between the Jewish community and the rulers of the city about the site and the ceremonies that took place there. But we also have to know that the history of Jerusalem connected to the history of photography. The camera was invented in 1836, and the first people who could hold the camera came here to the Holy Land because they wanted to bring the beauty of the Orient to Europe. Thanks to this fact, we can see that from the very first, photographers till anyone can hold his phone, we have beautiful documentary of the old city and especially, the most important and holy sites of Jerusalem. So we want to show this story by using visual images. We want people to learn how to look inside this information and learn more about the past. And especially now, as the Jerusalem Museum, we also wanted to contact the Israeli public because it's a very special time, difficult, challenging, and we can see this site as a very special one because all the sections of the Israeli society, they can argue, they can be really different in different points of view, but there's one place that they all feel really united and feel the same about the site, and this is the Western Wall. So we were here during the war, and we could see people are going to pray, to ask for peace, to ask for quiet days. We could see soldiers coming back from Gaza or Lebanon coming to thank someone. And we could see all the hostages' family coming for praying and asking for the relatives to come back. And then we saw the hostages themselves coming to thank God. So we could really follow how this site is unique for Israelis. Of course, all those, official guests coming from abroad, everyone. It became like a very symbolic site, part of the Jewish history, part of the Israeli history. So also here we want to check, is this a religious site? Is this a synagogue? Or it's a national symbol? So for some of the Israelis, it's a national symbol. For some of them, it's a synagogue. But still, we wanted to see the balance between, those points of view. So this exhibition actually is the first exhibition that's done about the Western Wall. We did a research of more than 3 years collecting documents, collecting films, photographs, and we are very excited to show them to the public next year.
So what is the Western Wall?
The Western Wall is part of the 4 walls that surrounded the Temple Mount, built by King Herod during Second Temple period. Those massive walls actually created a big stage that on top of it, King Herod rebuilt the second Jewish temple during his period, just the last century before destroying of Jerusalem, the year of 70. Now, right after the Jerusalem destruction, many of the Jews left Jerusalem, and they came back, and they never stopped to hope and pray to come back to Jerusalem. So the Western Wall became the most important place where Jews started to come and pray and cry and hope for the future. So this exhibition will show exactly from when Jews became connected to that certain point in the Western Wall, because the Western Wall is much bigger than the site known today as the Holy Site. And we are going to follow the history and tell this interesting story.
Of course, we see a little bit of the Western Wall, but it's much, much bigger. How big is the Western Wall?
The Western Wall is actually about 800 meters, but only part of it is known as the holy place, that the square we know today.
It's a very important place for Jews in their hopes and dreams of a third temple.
Yes, I think it's, for Jews all over the world, it's the most important and holy site connected to God, connected to heaven. They feel the presence of God there. They're coming to pray, to ask about personal, needs and about national needs. So it became actually the most important site for the whole Jewish, nation from all over the world.
Do you see a lot of changes over the years, and have men and women always been separated when they pray there? Today they're separated, so are you seeing a lot of changes with the photographs?
Yes, we see a lot of changes, but actually it's not because now they are separated because of the new rules. They always wanted to be separated, but during the British Mandate, it was forbidden because every physical change looks like a new change that no one knew what's going to be the next. Maybe they will build a synagogue or build a new building, so it was forbidden, but we could follow all those changes. Especially it was important for us to follow the story of the Western Wall regarding Zionism, because the beginning of Zionism, for example, when Theodor Herzl came in the end of the 19th century, it was 1989, the Western Wall was a symbol of the old Yishuv, which means the old Jews who came very old to live in Jerusalem just, few years before they are going to die and be buried here in Jerusalem. They were really poor. They came only to pray. All those crying Jews. Now, beginning of Zionism, the Western Wall was not a good symbol for those people who followed Theodor Herzl. They wanted to be pioneers. They wanted to build a country. They looked for a different symbol, not religious. They were not religious. They left the families in Europe. They left yeshiva. They left the religious life. They came here. They became secular. They wanted to build a normal country. So they needed a different symbol. That's why they decided to choose the Tower of David as the symbol of power, as a symbol of hope. They really wanted to separate themselves from that, past. They wanted a future. So as the symbol of Jerusalem, Tower of David, we always had a relationship with the Western Wall. We are not a religious symbol. I mean, the Tower of David is a symbol of the rich history of Jerusalem. Actually, the tower is a minaret, but the site, the Tower of David, represent all the layers from the history of Jerusalem. It's a fortress. It's a symbol of power. It used to be a power of a military power, it was an army barracks, but it became a symbol of power, a different power, the cultural power during the British Mandate, when the first governor of Jerusalem, Sir Ronald Storrs, believed that the culture is much stronger than army. And he decided to transform this site from an army barracks into a museum. And they began the exhibitions, the cultural events here. And the Tower of David was more like a symbol of future for the new Israelis, for Zionism. So we want to show the relationship between this symbol, Tower of David, and the Western Wall. Now, after 1967, the Western Wall became more important for Israelis because of the great victory that they saw. So suddenly you could see soldiers in the Western Wall, and national official ceremonies took place there. So it's interesting to follow the changes during the years.
Has there ever been a time where Israelis, Jews, haven't been allowed to pray at the wall?
Yes, of course. There were 19 years between 48 and 67 where Jews were not allowed to enter the old city. They only could come to Mount Zion to see it from there. But some some people could actually enter if they had foreign passports. So we have some documentary of the site. It was empty. It's interesting because it was part of Jordan, and the children from East Jerusalem, when they saw Jews coming taking photos, they told them, "No, you have to pray here," because they knew that this is the Wailing Wall.
So people have been coming to the Holy Land for many, many years, and many Christian tourists have been coming. So you're looking for photographs of the Western Wall?
Yes, we're absolutely looking for photographs. We want to, first of all, to show that it was always a very important symbol of the city. People from all over the world came to see it and took photos. We want to learn from those photos how the site looked like during the years, and it's very interesting that families are sending albums of the family. Many people came for, different purposes, but thanks to them, we can follow the date and see what happened in the city during their visit and learn more and more about Jerusalem. This is our mission, to light chapters in the history of the city, to fill in the blank spaces in our big picture and add more knowledge to the history of the city.
What are you looking for in a photograph?
We just want actually to collect what we can, because you can never know what surprise you are going to find. Even if it looks like a simple, black-white picture of the stones and people, we can always find information. Sometimes it's something written on the stone that no one noticed. Sometimes it's just a beautiful, photo with a beautiful light and point of view. And this is a great, I think, gift for the people who love Jerusalem and love Jerusalem history, to show such a big collection of this important site.
So if somebody has a collection of coming to Jerusalem and photographs, particularly of the Western Wall, how can they get them to you?
They can contact us through the website. We gave all the information and the email. They can either call the museum or send a message. The email, our curators will contact them, and of course we will give back all those albums and photos to the people and families. So I'll just say it. If you have photos or albums of the Western Wall, so you can send them to the Tower of David Museum. Our email address is exhibition@tod.org.il, and we will follow and contact you.
And when does the new exhibition start?
The exhibition about the Western Wall, in Hebrew we call it Einaim Lakotel, which means eyes to the wall. It will be open during April 27.
Well, Eilat, thank you so much for sharing today.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for joining us today. Pray that God will move by his mighty power in the Holy Land and bring his peace.